So we can all look at the same data rather than, not only does technology do two things at once, I don't even have a whiteboard to write it. So let's, all right, so I am on page I'm on page 31. The blue part, the self-review. And the commissions earned for the first quarter of last year by the 11 members of the sales staff at Master Chemical Company. What kind of data is it? Quantitative or qualitative? Qualitative or quantitative? It's the amount of money they made in sales. Quantitative. It's numbers. Qualitative would be what they were selling. Different type of product. What kind of car they used. It would be a trait. How old they were. How tall they were. Okay. So, is it discrete or is it continuous? It's continuous. Money is always continuous. The fact that we round to dollars or reals, or we even include dirhams or pennies, it's still been rounded. So that's kind of a special case. Money is always continuous. Okay, so we want to have a look at what this graph is going to be like, and rather than draw it by hand, I'm going to put it into the calculator. So, first of all, calculators are on, yes. And we're going to start with the stats button. We're in stats, therefore we need a stats button. When you use Excel, even though it will do the pie charts and it'll do bar charts, it is not meant to be a statistical analysis piece of work. And so here, when you touch the stats button, the TI becomes a total statistical machine. You touch a button, it will say, yes, this is a Z-score. Push something else, you'll get a T reading. You'll get a mean, a median, you'll get quarters, you'll get everything from it. So we're going to start by entering this in with stats. And you see we have some options here. We can edit, we can calculate, and we can do the tests. And edit means that we are going to put some data in. So let's choose edit to begin with.
Do you have one extra calculator?
I gave one away.
Oh, you did. Okay.
And we have choices where to put it, and it really doesn't matter if I put it in list 1, 2, 3, or 4, 5, or 6. Just that when I go and ask it to do something, I must tell it the correct list I'm in. So I'm going to put mine in list 1. So I'm moving back to list 1, and if I highlight up at list 1, I can clear it. So if you have a new calculator, you probably don't need to clear. But you see, anytime you highlight the title of the list, it will let me clear it off. So now I have a blank. Anyone having problems with that? If you don't like clearing that way, then you can clear, you can go back at stats, and if you look at number 4, it says clear list. You can choose that, and then you can ask it to do list 1. Do you see list 1? The blue value here, list 1. Anything written in blue means that I must touch the calculator, the second button. So if you don't like doing it the way I did, you can go back here, say you want it to clear list 1. It's done, I'm going to go back. Okay, let me stop now. Is anyone not being able to clear a list? They were already clear when you started? Okay. But they're not always going to be, because even when you turn your calculator off, these statistics will stay there until you remove them. So you can go off, do something else, come back in a month, your data will always be there. You must clear it. It's not like other data that you put in. It saves it. Okay, so let's enter the 11. Is it a population or is it a sample? The words say the commissions earned for the first quarter of last year by the 11 members of the sales staff. It's a population. It says of the 11. It says of the 11 members of the sales staff. So that's all they have. So let's enter it.
Is there any way to make that bigger?
What?
Make it full screen?
Calculator doesn't get any bigger. It just gives you what I push.
But can we use the tab up there for large? And then we can see the
I did that. So let's look at the bottom there where it says, on mine it's saying L12.
One of them is wrong, it's 1590.
One of them is wrong?
It's 1590. 1590.
Which one?
1590 instead of 1595.
This one?
Yes, 1590.
Thank you. Okay, your check, and you must always do this. This must be your number one move. I know I've entered number 11. That's what this means, the 11th term. I already know from the question I need to have 11 pieces of data. I will wax again and again that you really need to do this check, because if you've only put 10 in, you will get bizarre answers and I won't be able to find them. So I cannot give you marks if I cannot find anything that you've anywhere that you've made a mistake. So our first check will always be that we have n equal to something. Here we have n equal to 11. Any problem with entering the data? Okay, so yesterday we did some histograms, yes? So if you were going to graph this, what would you have on the x-axis? If you were going to graph it by hand, what's the smallest value? Oh wait, why don't we let the calculator do that first? So we can go back to the original page, our stats page, and we're going to ask it to put it in ascending order. So we'll know the lowest and we'll know the highest. Okay? So scroll down to sort A. That means we're sorting in ascending order. If it was sort D, we would be in descending order. Okay? So enter. And here we must tell it what list, right? And remember, the lists are here. You can see them written in, this is going to be list 1, list 2, list 3. It's written in blue. We must push second, the blue button first, and 1. So this will be second 1. I don't even need to close the bracket, it doesn't care. It tells me it's done it, so when we go back, we should, yeah?
Miss, can you do it again, please?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to go back to stats. That's the cover page, right?
Yes.
Are you on that page?
Okay.
All right. And number 2 is sort A. That means sort in ascending power, so I'm going to, or ascending order. So I'm going to start with the lowest and go into the highest. Okay, I want that one. But each time I want to do something in here, I need to tell the calculator what data I want it to work with. So you put your stuff in list 1?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to push the blue button and 1. Because if you look at that button, you'll see L1. Yeah, okay. So list 1, enter. It says it's done. So let's go back and look. So it's stats, edit, and the smallest value is 1475. Yes? Okay, you're frowning. Did you not get it? And the largest value? 1670, yeah? No, 1760. So, if we were doing this, we would have 1400, 1500, 1600, 1700, and 1800, yes? Maybe I can write it here on the edge. So we would have done something like this. We would have written that the class was going to be 1400 to 1500, 15 to 16, 16 to 17, and if I stop there, I won't be exhaustive, right? Because I have one salesman that made over 1700, so I need one more class. So 17 to 18. First of all, are we happy with that? So if I were graphing it, I would start at 1400. I would have something that looked like this. And remember, I'm putting this gap in so that people will know I'm not starting at 0. And then I'm going to say 14, 15, and so on, yes? So on the calculator, we're going to, first of all, let's get out of here. So that's the blue mode, that's quit. It's this one. We want to get out. And if you were going to graph this, your first move would be to make the axes. So let's do that. This seems to be the hardest part. But if you were graphing it by hand, you would be drawing it anyhow. So I said I'm going to start at 1400. So my X minimum is 1400. And I said I was going to make the max up to 18. And what size are these classes? What is the interval size? $1,400 to $1,500. How big is that? 100. So on my X scale, I'm writing in 100. Problem so far, I need to get the window to look after all that I have here. I want to graph from 1400 to 1800. I must have that in my window. I've chosen the X scale to be 100 because that's the size of the class. The classes are 1400 to 1500, that's 100. Okay, and for Y, I want to start at 0. And the frequency, I don't know. So I would make a guess here of half the data, because I haven't counted yet. So I'm going to make a guess of 6. Do you see why the Y max is a guess? Because I don't know how many are going to be in each group. If I'm going to count it myself, then I don't need the calculator to do it. So instead, I'm making a guess. If I graph my histogram and one of them is lopped off, I know it's not big enough. If my histogram is very tiny, then I'm going to know that I've made the Y value too big. So it's just a click of the button to fix. Questions about the window, because this always seems to be the hardest part. Okay. All right, so let's see what our graph looks like. So if you look over the y equals, it says stat plot. In blue, stat plot. If it's written in blue, it means that I need to start with the second button. The second y equals. Right here it says stat plot. And again, stat plot stays on forever unless you turn it off. It is not like other data that you have in here. Once it gets in, it stays until you take it out. So let's choose the first plot one. We can do 3 different, well, we can do more, about 3 available to start with to do 3 different graphs. And make sure you turn it on. No, you have to do here. It's leave here. And it's this one. So it's in blue. Okay, so you move the cursor to on, enter. So it turns it on. Otherwise, you'll do all this work and it won't graph it. Okay? And which of the little pictures is the histogram? You see, down and over 3? So we're going to choose the histogram. Enter. And it asks us where our values are. And our values are in list 1. Yeah. And frequency, we haven't done where we could be graphing something that has 7 of number 1s and 10 of number 2s. We haven't done that. So our frequency of each of our data values is 1. Okay? So let's just finish, enter, so that it knows what we want to do. And then we're going to graph. Beautiful. Something else on here. Something happens from before. If you get some message that says go to, it is likely that in the y equals section you still have something from before. So if I wanted to now write a frequency distribution table, I could read the values on the side because I know they're 1 each, so I could read this as 2. Or I could ask the calculator to tell me. So let's go under trace. Okay, all the checks now. And you need to be master of this machine. It says that I am plotting plot 1 and I'm using list 1. You see at the very top? P1, L1. So already I know that at least I've got the right data and I've got the right plot. And down here, it says my minimum value is 1400. And then it says my maximum is less than 1500. And we know that, right? 1400 up to, but not including 1500. And how many in this group? 2. This is really bad with only 1 board here. And then if I just move I just click to the next one, it jumps up and tells me now there are 5. And the next one is 3. And the last one? 1. And what should this total? What should all these bars total up to? 11. If it's not 11, it is not exhaustive. It means that I've chosen maybe to stop too soon or start too late. It's also, and I don't know if we used this word last time, mutually exclusive. Each salesman fit into each of the categories we gave them. Mutually exclusive means you cannot fit into two. For instance, what's your major? You're either in health sciences, you're in business, you're in IT, or engineering. In this college, you cannot have two. So those are mutually exclusive. Once you fill in what department you're in, you cannot be counted twice. If we talked about religion, you can only be in one religion. If we talked about political party that you were in, just one. If we talked about gender, just one. Yes? Mutually exclusive. Things that wouldn't be mutually exclusive would be if you were female and in business. Those are not mutually exclusive. You can be both. Questions about this? Everyone could do it in a snap. Okay, well, let's see. I've turned the page now. I'm on page 33. And let's look at number 11. Let's first talk about the data before we draw the histogram. Wachasaw Manufacturing Inc. produced the following number of units in the last 16 days. What kind of data is it? Nobody knows. Well, it's quantitative, yes? And they're making units. They're making widgets. They're making something. So here, it's discrete data. They made 10 chairs. They made 50 whatever. And here, they've made 20-something whatever these units are. Any questions about that? Discrete and continuous is important. You need to know the difference between those. Okay, so let's first of all enter the data. I'll wait. And if you want, you can put it into list 2 so that you can come back to list 1 later on and we'll do something else with it. So let's put it into list 2. How many pieces of data?
16.
It says 16 days, so we would expect 16. And you know how to check that you've got the 16 in. You should now be at L2 because it's telling us that we're in list 2 and that there are 17. I'm about to enter the 17th piece of data. Questions? No? Okay, so again, it's much easier for us to look at data that's in some order. So let's put this in ascending order as well. So we'll know the minimum and maximum value. whenever you're working with data, you're supposed to be in control of it. So the way to do that is for you to know the minimum and max. That always gives us some idea of what we're working with. If you make a mistake and you make the mean way outside of your range, you know something is wrong. So by putting it in order, we know right from the start, what is the minimum value for this, for our units that we're making? How many? The minimum value, the minimum number that they make in these 16 days, how many is that? 25. And the maximum number that they make? So right away that gives us some idea. We're only working with 6 values here. Yes? So if we were going to list these and put them in a histogram, we would be looking at something like 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. But look how many classes we would have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 classes, and we've only got 16 pieces of data. That's a way too many. So we could do 25 to 27. Yeah? 25 to 27, and 27 to 29, 29 to 31, and 31 to 33. The key here is that once you have the data in the calculator and you want to see what the histogram looks like, we just need to change X scale. We can see all of it. We can see if it's a width of 1, a width of 2, a width of 3. Okay, what are we going to do next now? We want to see this histogram. Window. The calculator runs much like you would if you were doing this by hand. So once you've got the frequency table or the values put in, you would then start, you would draw the axes. So on this case, I'm going to start at 25. And by what I've written here, I'm going to finish at 33. Do you see if I stop at the line above, it will not include 31. I will have left that day off. So 31. And this time I've decided that I'm going to choose 2 for my bar width. And if I don't like it, I'll go back and change. Remember, when you're showing the graph to somebody, the histogram or the statistical data, you're doing it either to sell something or to prove something. So here, maybe they want to say they want to up production. Or maybe the days of 25 are, for us, the Thursday, the day before the weekend, and people aren't working as hard. Maybe that's what they're going to try to show. So when we graph it, we're going to say over 16 days, which is really not enough, 16 days. The magic number, and you'll hear it forever in this class, is 30. And half of my data would be 8, so I'm going to make this go up to 8. That is just my own game here. I just decide that I doubt that half of my data is going to fit into one column. It might. Okay, so next I'm going to now decide how, whoops, I'm going to graph, so stat plot. And I can use the first one. What will be different here? List 2. My data is in list 2. So blue 2. Did I not put 33 in there? Wait. See what's wrong with this? I stopped at 31 instead of 33. This is truly a front-end load, we'd say. that we've got all the data in the first two. This would be a cluster. We would call this a cluster. So we would say, if we wanted to talk about the number of things produced by this company, we would say between 25 and 29 units a day from the data that we've got here. These, we could almost say, are out of line. We would include them because we can't ignore data that's been collected, but we can already see. If I want to see what it would have looked like if I had done each count individually, I'm going to go back to the window and I'm going to make my X scale 1. So now, instead of having 25 to 27, this is 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. You see, it's so, once you've got the data in there, this is not really a productive looking graph. I mean, if I've got 16 pieces of data and 8 classes, that makes no sense. I'm going to put it back. So let's look again. Okay, do you remember how to read the values now? Trace. So I know that with only 16 pieces of data, going through all of this work for you to do the count, you can count much easier just by yourself. But if you had a lot of data you were working with, and besides that, once the data is in the calculator, it just touches the buttons to see something else. So a minimum of 25, a max less than 27, and I have 6. And the next one, is it 8? And what should this total be? What should the total be here? 16. And do I have 16? I do. Questions? Okay, I'm on page 39. No, actually, I'm on page 41. That data's better. Page 41 at the top. And in this case, we're looking at the vehicle selling prices at Whitner Autoplex. And the selling prices are already grouped. What happens when we want to work with group data? If I want to graph it, I cannot put a group value on here. What am I going to use? Not Mama Bear because it's too small, not Papa Bear because it's too big, but Baby Bear because it's the midpoint. Remember? So on the top of the page, we're going to find the midpoint of all of these values, 15 to 18. So I'm back to entering the data. I'm going to put this in list 3. So you understand, I can't write 15-18 and expect the calculator to do something. So I need to find the midpoint. What will it be?
Something plus.
Add 15 and 18 and divide by 2.
By 2.
$16.5, yes? So, and the next one
supposed to be. Yeah.
Any problem with how I found these first two? I've added the two together and divided by 2. How far apart are these two numbers? How far apart are these two numbers? 16 and a half and 19 and a half. 3. Yes? So rather than have to add and divide, you can just add 3 to each of them and move down. So the next one is going to be 22 and a half. The one after that, 25. And then 28. And 31. And 34. Problems here. You had to use a midpoint because we have a group data given to us originally. In the two previous questions, we had raw data. The calculator grouped it for us. Now we have it grouped. We need to enter a representative. So the representative for the first group is 16.5. Yeah? All right, remember when we do a frequency polygon, we need to use the group before and the group after. So we want to insert a number now. What will be the number before 16 and a half? You're subtracting 3 now. 13 and a half, yes? So we need to use the insert button. Do you see it? It's the blue del. It's here. Except that's not where I want to insert it. Just hold on. I'm moving the calculator. I'm moving up here. I want to put it in before 16.5. If I just type 13.5 now, it will override the 16.5. I want to insert a number. Okay?
An extra number.
So I'm going to do second del, and that leaves me a 0, and I'm going to put 13.5. Remember, I need a value before and a value at the end. So my last value here is going to be at 3, 34.5. Everybody okay with that? And in list 4, I'm going to write the frequencies. And how many cars did they sell for 13.5? None. Remember, I've added the beginning and end here. I didn't make this one big enough. Do you see this message here? This invalid dim, it means invalid dimension. So if you were going to try to graph points and you didn't have them in equal lines, it will give you this message. In this case, we're putting points on, so you do need to have the same in list, for us, the same in list 3 and in list 4. Everyone okay with the list? All right, so what would we be graphing? We want to start at 13.5, so I'm going to start at 10. Right? So window, I'm going to start at 10, and I'm going to go to 40, just because I can. The values here are 15, the biggest number is 36, so I've chosen below 10 and above 40. The scale will have no effect now, because it's not counting for us. It will just be the marks that are on the graph. And the same, there was 80 in total, so maybe this time I want to put in 40. So X plot. And I'll use the first plot again. Which one am I going to choose? The second one. And notice, as soon as you tell it the second one, it's saying we need an X and Y value now. It already knows it's going to do a frequency polygon or a line graph or something. So where do we put our X values? List 3, mine were. Oh. So my values are in list 3 and in list 4. And the bottom one says mark. It's how do you want your graph? Do you want squares? Do you want pluses? Or do you want dots? Matters not. But choose what you want. They'll all be different. Beautiful. Is it not? Yeah. Okay. Are you sure you put the? First of all, we'll check your two lists here. There should be one more. This was my mistake. There was something. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so this one was. From before, so
This?
no, they're not matching. There's no value there, but there's a value here. So they each go out of effects. Here's one of them. Start here at 13.5. For 10:30?
Yes.
Okay. Give us a few minutes, please. But so great to see you early. Okay, so you need to go back and fix. If it gives you this error, invalid dim, it means that your two lists are not the same length. And you need to go back and check. And again, if I want to find out the values, I can trace. It's telling me that I've got plot 1 using list 3 and 4. And my first value is 13.5 and 0. And if I just arrow over or click the arrow button, it moves me to each of the values that are here. Questions? We did a lot. A lot. So, do we have a class tomorrow or is it Thursday? Tomorrow. We have singles in this class. Okay, be sure you've got the calculator and your textbook so that we'll start doing some mean, median, and mode, some more graphs, some more calculators. And please do not throw the disk away from inside your textbook. It will have data that you'll be getting your first assignment. And you know to look on PB Works. You will see the YouTube of whatever we've done in class. So if you've missed something today, you can go back. It will be there.
And actually have we given them the PB Works website?
I don't know, maybe not.
Anyway. Well, the first day we did.
Yeah, MA, is it MA or math?
Math.
MA1670.pbworks.com. Please go and look. Everything, the reason that we're filming is so that you will be able to go home, hear whatever's gone on in the class.
And also, there's already videos there of just how to do it on the calculator. So this is what you see. It'll just be the whole image of this, going through step by step, showing you which buttons to hit. So they're shorter videos, maybe 10 minutes, just how to make a histogram, how to update a list. So short videos, in case there was something you missed there, those are already posted.
Excellent. See you tomorrow. Did you get the attendance?
Yeah.